Y'all, I am utterly disgusted by this hag, Amber Heard. For those of you who don't remember, she went on a smear campaign against Johnny Depp around the time she was divorcing him. She said that he had beat her, choked her, slammed her, gave her a noogie, punched her, kicked her, tripped her, like gave her an Indian burn, the whole night. She completely smeared that guy's name. She painted herself as a victim. She was saying that he would go into these drunken rages, he was on all these drugs, and that she was just this poor little victim that was living in his house and enduring all this abuse, and that she just had to get away. It was just too toxic of an environment for her. And that, women have rights and we need to speak out and come forward about this type of abuse. She was the domestic abuse survivor, she was a martyr. So I'm disgusted. So let's get into what happened a couple of days ago. And by the way, I'm one of the women who completely believed Amber when this story first came out. And I've always been a huge Johnny Depp supporter. I've always loved his movies. I kind of thought he was cute. And when this all came out, like, I kind of jumped on that train too. Like, he needs to be canceled. So, but I don't know. I had never heard of him being an abuser. I think he had been accused of being a playboy, but I think because of his appearance in the last, like maybe 10 or 15 years has kind of gotten haggard and all that. Like, I believe the drug abuse claims and that maybe he was abusive towards her. So to now read this post by the Daily Mail, I am just like, wow, she completely tried to ruin this man. So here's what the Daily Mail published. The headline says, I can't promise I won't get physical again. I get so mad, I lose it. Listen as Amber Heard admits to hitting ex-husband Johnny Depp and pelting him with pots, pans, and vases in an explosive audio confession. So just as I said, Amber Heard, in a taped confession, which was, I guess, a quote unquote therapy session that they had conducted themselves, I don't know, as a way to fight through their problems. I don't know. But somehow the Daily Mail got a hold of these tapes where Amber is admitting that she has hit him, that she has been abusive towards him. And she's kind of explaining and justifying herself in these situations that have occurred. So I'm just going to read a little bit of some of the audio. So the first video, you hear Johnny Depp saying that he doesn't want to get into a physical altercation with her. So here's what he says. I'm not going to be in a physical effing altercation with you. She responds and says, don't, then don't. And he said, well, you effing hit me last night. And then she responds and says, well, what about all the other times you split? And he says, well, on a plane, I can't split. And she goes, no, you hit back, so don't act like you don't effing participate. And then he says, I pushed you. A couple lines down, she starts talking about how he basically pokes her and it's like poking a bear, and then eventually, that she's going to react to him doing that. And he said, well, that's not true, and it's not the same for me. And she said, well, I have stayed calm after you kicked and kicked and kicked. And I don't think she means he physically kicked her. I think she means that he's like literally poking at her and kind of taunting her into an altercation. So he says, I need the same things, but when you start flipping out and I can't get a word in and it's manic and angry, what the F, Amber? And she goes, I get angry. I'm human. This is the kind of situation when one gets angry. So sometime later, Johnny Depp starts accusing her of being a liar. And for some reason, that really sets her off. And she just starts talking about how she doesn't care about what he's saying and that what was the lie that she told. And she starts to really get heated when he continues to just call her a liar or call her out on her lies. And he goes and he says, well, eventually you punched me. She says, I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. I was not punching you. Babe, you were not punched. And then he says, well, don't tell me what it feels like to be punched. And then she was like, oh, well, I know. You've been in so many fights. You know what it's like to be punched. And he says, no, like, you punch me with a closed fist. Like, you've been hitting me. And she just keeps dismissing his claim. And she says, you didn't get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not effing deck you. I was effing hitting you. And she goes on to say that she doesn't know what the motion of her hand was, but that he was fine. So she was gaslighting the crap out of him. And then eventually she just gets so frustrated that she says, you know what the difference between me and you is that you're an effing baby. You're such a baby. Grow the F up, Johnny. What I don't like about this exchange is how she keeps gaslighting him and telling him that, basically what his feelings are irrelevant. As long as he's not getting punched in the face, it's okay to hit him. And also what was weird is that throughout both of the tapes, Johnny suggests to her that maybe when things get heated, they just take a step away from each other, spend some time apart to kind of calm down the situation. And she keeps badgering him, saying that he always walks away, like he always walks away from the fight. Isn't that what you're supposed to do instead of punching someone in the face? But you know what her response was to walking away from the situation and calming down? She actually says, I'm sorry, I can't promise that I won't get physical again. Like, really, ho? One thing I noticed about the tapes is that throughout the conversation, she never once says, you hit me, or you pushed me, or you kicked me. She never accuses him of anything, at least not. She kind of like dances around the situation, almost like she knows that she's the aggressor, but that he deserved it. And that she's the one that's being abused because he called her out on it. It's his fault. So what I don't like about this is if this were a man saying this to a woman, yeah, I punched you, or yeah, I hit you, but it wasn't closed fists, so you're just being a baby, his ass would be locked up in jail right now. I'm going to guess this information is from a court record because Johnny Depp actually said that she hit him, punched him, kicked him, that she repeatedly and frequently threw objects at him and his head, including heavy bottles, soda cans, burning candles, the remote control, paint thinner cans, and that she had severely injured him. One of the most severe incidents that he's claiming is that she had went berserk on him after he asked her to sign a prenup, and she threw a vodka bottle at him and it shattered on the marble countertop or something, and somehow that ripped off the tip of his finger. And he actually submitted photos of his severed finger, I'm guessing, to the courts. But Amber actually responded to that allegation and said that he had cut his finger off himself in some like drunken high state of being or something like that. I personally think that's probably a lot of bullcrap. Based on those tapes and everything I've read about her, to me, she seems to be the aggressor, and she is aggressive and she has anger problems. She also has a history of violence. She was arrested, I think back in 2009 for punching or slapping or something her ex-girlfriend in an airport, but the charges were dropped. Like, how is that okay? Like, why is it okay for this woman to abuse people, but she has not been held accountable for that? Like, how is that okay? I also believe that she's very manipulative, and I think that she took advantage of his state of mind, whatever that may be, to try to paint him as something that he probably really isn't. He may need help, but I don't think that he's an abuser. It doesn't seem like that to me. It looks like he was just defending himself. If he did touch her at all, to me it looks like he was defending himself, and he has the right to do that. He actually said that he thought that what she was doing was trying to kind of paint herself in a certain light so that at the divorce she could get some kind of financial support. I don't know if that's true, but TMZ did release a video that she had secretly taken of him. Now, allegedly, he was spazzing out and kind of breaking stuff in the kitchen when she started recording the video, but allegedly his mom had just died around this point, and he was kind of, I guess, having a bad day, but also he allegedly had lost millions of dollars somehow. I'm not really sure what the story is about that, but even throughout the video, even though I don't even think he's being violent. I think he's just he's upset and he's breaking things, but he never laid a finger on her in the video, as you'll see. So just watch this clip. So I feel really bad for him. I think what he's going through, he doesn't deserve. But that's neither here nor there. I guess I just want to close this by saying that they did reach a divorce settlement in 2017. And he actually did sue her for defamation of character in 2019. That battle is still ongoing. And I just want to end this with, I mean, Amber, how are you a women's rights activist, a domestic abuse survivors activist, when you're the one whooping all the ass? Like, seriously, you are the one whooping all the ass. Like, people. Well, anywho, so please comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more. I plan to probably do videos every couple of days, so stay tuned. Bye.